Okay. Did that start? Yes, it did. All right. So when it comes to verbs, we're gonna look at some verbs in español. First off, let's just get this out of the way. ¿Qué es un verbo? What is a verb? Basic action. Yes, action word. Okay. Now, as we have seen, all right, in English, verbs tend to not change a whole lot. Okay. I speak. You speak. We speak. Okay. The verb pretty much remains the same. All right. Other languages, especially Western languages like Spanish, Portuguese, French, German, stuff like that, you do get where los verbos, the verbs, are going to change according to the subject of the sentence. Now, the one verb in English that does this is the verb to be. Okay? I am. All right? You are. He is. It only does it partially. Okay? Now, it will never be I be, even though I've heard it. Okay? It's wrong. It will never be you be. Okay? Or she be. Okay? Or we am. Okay? Type of thing. All right? Even though, once again, we may be tempted to say it. All right? In español, all verbs are like the verb to be. Okay? They will always be changing depending on if it's I, if it's you, if it's we, if it's alls, y'alls. Okay? The verb is going to be different. All right? Now, at its most basic, we have three types of verbs in español. We have verbs that end in AR. We call those AR verbs. We have verbs that end in ER. We call those ER verbs. And we have verbs that end in IR. I won't tell you the name of those. All right? Now, okay? That's basically it. That's how you know that the word that you're looking at is in fact a verb, because it ends in one of those things. Now, as we go into Spanish 2 and 3 and 4, and if you keep studying, all right, we'll introduce the weird ones that have slightly different endings than that, but those are your three, like 95% of the time. All right? Now, okay, because of the complexity, all right, for the most part, right now we're only going to look at AR verbs. Okay, ER and IR verbs we'll look at in the next chapter. Okay, now, in addition to the type of verb, okay, we are also looking at verb tense, and we're learning that. What do we mean by tense? When something happens. Okay, so I speak is present. I'm doing it right now. What if I want to say what happened yesterday? What is the past tense of speak? Well, spoke. I spoke yesterday. Okay? If I'm telling you what I'm going to do tomorrow, which would be the future, what is the future of speak?
Will speak.
Will speak, yeah. In English, the future tense is what we call compound. It's two verbs. Okay? So yeah, all right? We're going to do the same thing in Espanol. Just for you nerds like Santos, there's actually 21 verb tenses in Spanish. Don't worry, like half of those are archaic, like they're not used anymore. All right, at least not in modern Spanish. Okay, but we do have present, future. We have two future tenses, two past tenses, and a couple other like intermediate things. Don't panic, because in this class we learn 1 3/4. I say 1 3/4 because we're strictly going to focus on the present tense, but the present tense is a lot more flexible in Español. Okay, I could just say yo hablo, I speak, and boom. But if I add the word tomorrow, I just made it future. Okay? Yo hablo mañana. Like, literally, I will speak tomorrow. You really can't do that in English without sounding like dumb. Like, I speak tomorrow. You know, I mean, you can kind of say it, but you sound a little off. All right? In Espanol, it's actually okay. All right, it makes sense. So I'll show you some of those tricks, or you know, those little things, so that you know you can kind of express a very, very simple future. But we're only going to do present tense. That's it. What's happening right now. So you'll be able to tell what's happening right now in the immediate whatever, but that's about it. Okay. Now, let me get rid of these, because we're not going to look at them. And if you haven't noticed, hablar means to speak. Okay? So, when we are using our verb tenses, and I always draw these little charts, okay? Now, I've mostly studied Western languages, okay? So since most Western languages follow this similar pattern, I always do these little charts for myself, okay, where you have the subjects. So what is yo again? I. What is tú?
You informal.
You in the informal. Él, he, ella, she, and usted. You formal. Now, just as an FYI, UD is the abbreviation for usted. Please say usted as opposed to ud. I've had students read it and go ud. It's like when you see Mr., it's just MR. You don't just say mer. It's Mer Santos. No, you say Mr. Okay? It's not ud, it's usted. Okay? Or Merce. Okay? It's Merce Countryman. No, it's Mrs. All right? Type of thing. All right? What is nosotros again? We. Vosotros. Y'all, or you all. But only in which country? Spain, España, okay? Only in España. It is the plural of that, okay? Because otherwise, ellos means they, and ellas means they, but one of them is masculine, one of them's feminine, okay? Otherwise, I was going to say the other countries, including the United States, we use ustedes for everyone, alls, y'alls. Okay, type of thing. All right. So I always do that. Okay, because when it comes to changing your verb, okay, you always take the AR and you drop it. Okay, and then you will add a particular ending depending on the subject. Okay, these are your endings. And like I said, most Western languages work this way, okay? So that if you want to say, I speak Spanish, okay? Yo, let me use black, negro. Yo is top left, so the ending is the top left, okay? If you want to say, they speak Spanish, ellos, bottom right, bottom right, okay? If I want to say, we, talking about me and Lexi, speak Spanish, okay? Top right, okay? Now, for those of you that have studied Spanish before, this may seem easy. For those of you that haven't, this is what I would recommend for you to be able to, like, mentally, visually make that connection, okay? Now, obviously for you to remember this is strictly an exercise in memorization, at least it always was for me. I can only do this top to bottom, left to right, okay? O, as, a, amos, ais, an. O, as, a, amos, ais, an. All right? Yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, vosotros, ellos, ellas, ustedes. Okay? I have been in classes with people that go, I have to read it. Oh, amos, us, ice, I don't know how you people do that, okay? Or people that memorize it that way, okay? I actually met one person who did it like this, which totally threw me off. But then again, he used to use a mouse like this, like it was down and he'd do it like that. All right, so I think he might have been like dyslexic or something, just like not diagnosed, because he did everything backwards and it worked. But anyway, no, it was just fascinating because people would watch him working like this with the mouse upside down, and he was able to do it. And it's like, how can you reconcile the fact that you're moving it in the opposite direction? He's like, how do you guys do it the other way? And I'd just be like, that's the way the whole world does it, dude. Type of thing. So anyways, but yeah, okay. Like I said, whichever system works for you. And that's how I've done it, like when I studied French, when I studied German, when I've looked at a couple other languages that do this, top to bottom, left to right, okay? And so at some point, some of you will say, okay, yeah, I got that. Well, at some point it will, you will make that association, okay? But for now, top left, middle right, okay? Bottom left, okay? You can do your own little charts that way, okay? I've had students that color code them, like all the yos are in blue, all the thus are in red, the ella usted is in green. Yeah, I'm not that extra. Emma's like, hey, that's a good idea. I'm not that extra, but some people do it like that, okay? Now, if you go to page 34, por favor. Everything I just babbled on right now is all right there, okay? So you have a copy of this slide, kind of, sort of, okay? And then, of course, you have the explanation of how to use the present tense, and of course, how to form it, how to do this. The textbook explains it un poquito diferente, all right, which is why I record this. So if you prefer my explanation, you can go back and listen to it, whatever. But if you're okay with the way the book does it, then fine, okay, type of thing. And then it goes on to explain what I've already kind of told you, the uses of the present tense, and then of course the fact that in Espanol it's more flexible, so we can actually use it to express more things. So even though we're only learning one tense, you can actually say a lot more with that one tense than you can in English, okay? So, like, you can talk about things in general, you can talk about what's happening right now, you can talk about what's happening later, all with just one tense, all right? Whereas in English, you would have to go like, he will do this, or he always does it, or, whatever, okay? I am so sorry. Page 35. These are the AR verbs that you are responsible for knowing. Number one, what they mean, okay? For this, the most I can recommend are either like flashcards or whatever other memorization exercise, or Duolingo, or, whatever can help you with that. And of course, being able to do this with all of them, which if it's identical, it doesn't matter what the verb is. If it ends in AR, all of this applies, okay? I'm not gonna go through all of them, and for that I apologize, but, okay, starting at the very top, they put it with con a phrase, okay? But I just want to focus on the verb for the most part. So descansar means to rest, okay? So yo descanso después de la clase, I rest after class, because I'm talking about myself, yo, okay? I drop the AR, I add an O, so it's descanso, okay? Or if it's me and Levi, we're roommates, it's like nosotros descansamos, we rest, all right? Después de la clase, after class, okay? Here, the expression they have is to rest for an hour, okay? Escuchar means to listen, okay? What do you think, música? Music, yeah. All right. They are using cognates. They are using words that are either very similar or identical. They're also using vocabulary from this chapter. So, escuchar música. Yo escucho mucha música. I am always listening to music. Yo no escucho música por la noche. I don't listen to music at night. Okay. Estudiar means to study. Now, I know previously we used it to take. There is a verb that means to take. We'll get that right now. But for the most part, when you talk about classes, you're talking about studying a certain subject. So I study Spanish. Yo estudio español. I study history. Yo estudio historia. Okay? Right now I'm studying Spanish and history. Yo estudio historia y español. Okay? Type of thing. All right? Llegar means to arrive. Okay? Mandar means to send. Okay? Now, I don't think a lot of you are sending letters, mandar cartas. Maybe you're sending correo electrónico. What is correo electrónico in English? Email. Okay. Now, email stands for electronic mail. Nobody says electronic mail. I mean, you must be a dork if you say it. In Espanol, not a lot of people actually say correo electrónico. I mean, some people do, depends on the country. Most people will just say el email, okay? You have to put el in front of it, the email. Otherwise, it's English and it's wrong. But if it's el email, now it's Spanish, okay? So el email, so mandar el email or mandar correo electrónico. Mensajes means messages. When someone talks about sending messages, they're talking about el teléfono. What do we call those in English? Starts with a T. Texts. All right? Yeah, sending texts, texting someone. Mandar mensajes. Yo mando mensaje a Aiden. I texted Aiden. Okay? Type of thing. All right? Now, amongst young people, like alls y'alls, okay, they say that a bit more often than mandar un mensaje. What would mandar textos? This one should not confuse Aiden. Sending texts. All right. So if you say, "Oh yeah, yo mando un texto a Aiden," all right. Yeah, I sent Aiden a text or I texted Aiden. Okay, type of thing. Okay. Regresar means to return. Okay. Now, it can mean to return to a place or to return a thing. Okay? For now, we're only using it to mean to return to a place. In this case, to return home. All right? But please be aware that it can also mean to return a thing. Yo regreso el bolígrafo a Lexi. I'm returning the pen to Lexi. Okay? Tomar means to take. All right? So if you would rather say yo tomo, that's fine. Okay, yo tomo inglés, español, historia y matemáticas. I'm taking, or I take, those classes. Okay, and then we can use it to mean, whatever other thing to take. So tomar examen, to take a test. Okay, tomar apuntes, to take notes, etc. Okay, now, one thing you have to be careful, it's not on here, but that's why you have me. Okay, tomar also means to drink. So, how are you going to know the difference between I take a class and I drink a class? No, you don't drink a class. So, yeah, and the context. I mean, like Santos isn't drinking a class, so it must be he's taking. Okay. Now, if I say yo tomo cafe, this one's coffee, that one's agua. Wait, is he drinking coffee or is he taking someone's coffee? Okay, then yes, look at the sentence structure, look at the context, look at the words that are around it, and that will give you the meaning. Okay, trabajar means to work. Okay, now going through the rest of them, bailar, to dance. I'm not going to go through all of them because we'd be here like way past class time. Pero, you are responsible for going through them. Buscar means to look for, all right? It already has the word for in it, all right? So, yo busco el libro. I'm looking for the book. All right, yo busco la clase. I'm looking for the class. Yo busco 218. I'm looking for room 218. Okay, the meaning is already there. Okay, comprar, to buy. Okay, desear, to want or to wish. Okay, now, because the actual verb that means to want is kind of a hard one, for now, we are going to use desear. But if you already know, if you've taken Spanish before and you know Santos, but it's querer, it's yo quiero, fine, go ahead and use yo quiero. For those of you that have never taken Spanish before, ignore what I just said, okay? And use deseo, okay? I want, okay? Hopefully what I'm doing right now, enseñar, to teach. Yo enseño español e historia in MBCC. I teach Spanish and history. And poor Ivy is cursed because she has to sit through both of my Spanish and history lectures. Okay? Oliver does too, but they're not here. Esperar. Esperar has multiple meanings. It can mean to hope. It can mean to expect. It can also mean to wait. All right. And once again, as we've been told, you have to look at the sentence structure. You have to look at the context to decide which one it actually is. Okay. If you go to the next column, okay, necesitar, to need. Okay. Pagar means to pay. It can also mean to pay for. Okay, yo pago el café. I pay for the coffee. Okay, yo pago a Lexi por el trabajo. I paid Lexi for the work she did. Okay, so pagar, to pay. Pasar means to spend or to pass, but in this context, we're using it specifically to mean to spend time or to pass the time. So pasar tiempo. Okay. Preguntar means to ask a question. Okay. To ask for a thing is a completely different verb. Okay. And that is why sometimes I say preguntas. Okay. That means questions. That's the noun. Okay. So preguntar, to ask a question. Okay. Terminar is to finish. I'm almost terminar. Okay. Now, if you want to think about it this way, there's movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator. All right. Terminar, terminate. What does terminate mean? To end. So terminar, to end. Okay. Tocar. Okay. Tocar also has two meanings. Tocar means to touch. Yo toco el libro. Yo toco el libro. Okay. But it also means to play a musical instrument. Yo toco el piano. I play the piano. Yo toco la guitarra. I play the guitar. It only means to play music, though. Okay? Because you can also say yo toco la música. I'm playing music. All right? To play sports or games is a completely different verb. All right? In Espanol, we separate. Okay? Oh, and then a lesser known meaning, tocar, to knock. Okay, although that's strictly in Mexico. When I was in South America, people would use a slightly different verb for, okay, type of thing. Okay. Visitar, to visit. Viajar, to travel. Okay. Now, first off, any preguntas? Sí. I'm sorry? Yes. Okay. Mucho tiempo. All right. Now, in both English and Spanish, we have what are called compound verbs or verb phrases. Okay? What is a compound verb? Well, I'm glad you asked. A compound verb is when two verbs express one action. Okay? For example, I need to ask a question. Need is a verb. Ask is a verb. Needing to ask, two verbs, but it's only one action. Okay? Now, this is the way my 8th grade teacher explained it to me. Okay? You have a main verb, and you have a helping verb. Okay? You have the exact same thing in Espanol. Necesitar, preguntar. Okay? Pero, en Español, you change the first verb. The second one, you always leave alone. You do nothing to it. I need to ask. Necesito preguntar. Because remember, you're dropping the AR in the yo form. It's O, as, it's up there. Necesito preguntar. Okay? Mr. Santos, I need to speak with you. Necesito hablar. Okay? Mr. Santos, I would like to do whatever. Okay? Or no. Senor Santos, I want, okay, to pay for your coffee. Yo deseo pagar por el café. Okay? Yeah, I know. I'm waiting for someone, but never happens. All right? That's okay. I don't mind paying. Okay? So, there are certain verbs that function as helping verbs. Now, my teacher called them auxiliary verbs. I could never, when I was younger, I could never say auxiliary correctly. I can now, or spell it right. So that's why she's like, okay, Santos, helping verb. Okay? To need, necesitar, is a helping verb. Desear, to want or to hope, is a helping verb. Okay? Those are the only two. Oh no, I'm lying to you. And esperar. Those are the only three that you know so far. Okay? So obviously I'm not going to give you a lot of compound sentences, a lot of compound verbs. I'm going to keep it simple. Okay? But I might throw one in. Okay, so just kind of, remember, you change the first one, you change the helping verb, you leave the second one alone. You don't touch it, you don't do anything to it. Okay? Finally, at least for the explanation part, to make a sentence negative, you just put the word no in front of the verb. No hablo español. No necesito dinero. I don't need money. Okay? No tomo el examen. I'm not taking the test. Okay? No trabajo por la noche. I don't work at night. Okay? You just put the word no in front of the verb. That's it. All right? Preguntas. All right. Then vamos